Good evening. We're going to call this CRA Board meeting to order at 5:30 on August 27th, 2026. Do we want to do an invocation, Mr. Vice Mayor or Mr. Mayor?
I'd be glad to, yeah.
If you don't mind, please,
Yeah.
sir, and then we'll follow that by the pledge.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. Let's pray. Lord, again, we thank you for this day, Father, and just thank you for this beautiful weather we have here in High Springs, Lord. Just bless those people that are here at the current time, Lord, and I just pray that you give us all safe travel mercies back home after this meeting, Lord. Just guide us, Lord, as we move forward with High Springs business, Lord, and we just, again, thank you for this day. For it's in His name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll have roll call, please.
Chair Grunder, Vice Chair Howell, Member Bloodsworth,
Here.
Member Whites,
Here.
Member Miller.
Here.
Next on the agenda is approval of tonight's agenda for August 27th, 2026.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda of August 27, 2026.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Any comments from? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The agenda is approved. Next, we have approval of the minutes from the May 28th, 2026 CRA meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from May 28th, 2026.
And second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes are approved. New business item number 1. Review, consider, and discuss street improvements for Northwest 237th Street and determine next steps.
Hi, Board. Thanks for coming today. I'm excited about this tonight. We finally have something to provide for you as far as our capital improvement projects go. GAI Consultants, I'm happy to report, they've officially completed the engineering design for this project, and for this portion of Northwest 237th Street. With the design phase finalized, the project is shovel-ready and ready for RFP and construction bids. Additionally, to ensure, if you guys approve it, additionally, to ensure strict quality control and timeline adherence, GAI Consultants is also available to provide ongoing project management through the complete process, if we just choose that. My primary mission is to deliver tangible, high-impact economic growth, clear blight, and optimize downtown infrastructure. This is a major visible capital improvement that directly answers the needs of our residents and our business community. I think you guys can agree that that road's kind of scary as it currently is. Northwest 237th Street improvements that we're making, we'll go through those in just a moment. But I just feel like this is a great way to help connect that corridor, enhance property values, and just make it safer, really, than what we currently have. The project is ready, to bid out, which I feel once you guys approve it, or if you approve it, I'm just kind of looking for the next steps so that we can keep it moving. And I feel like this is like a textbook example of what we should be doing with our capital improvement projects. I know this is just one little street in a big scene of our district, but I think it can demonstrate how we can successfully deploy these tax increment financing to create the safe public spaces. So you guys have it all in your packet, and maybe hopefully you've all looked at it a little closer because it's hard to see up here, but so just kind of what we talked about before, adjusting that line over. They're going to actually grind it down all the way, start from the base. And then once they, lay the asphalt, do their thing, we're going to shift the line over. The parking slants just a little bit different, not totally different, but enough where it helps as well. Their engineering came up with that, and just a few little safety things in place, like the 2 raised crosswalks. So one at like where you're coming right near Prohibition Pizza, there's a crosswalk across there, across from the brewery. And then a little bit further down by the railroad tracks, hopefully a rail trail. I did, throughout the whole process, I did speak with them about the possibility of a trail coming, so we didn't want to do all these improvements. You can build onto it, so it's not like we're putting something in that's going to be ripped out later. I don't want to do that with our dollars. I want to make sure that they make an impact and stay. So yeah, so this is just kind of, you have all this in your packet as well, but just kind of their whole process. I thought it was good to kind of see, but it's really small, sorry. It's hard to read. But just the things I described and that we've been talking about through the process. This is what it currently looks like. And this is what they project it to, this is what we're aiming for it to look like. So there would be the little island to help with the safety, that helps with the parking and the pedestrians. And just clean it up, just make it make sense. Continue the sidewalks. From the other view, this is the current view. This is the projected view. So it just, that connectivity and just making it make sense and making it safer. And yeah, so that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Okay, so my question is, so I do like the crosswalk, that second angle, but the first angle that we see with the island, I'm concerned that island is because there's not a lot of room. It looks good on this picture, but when I think about driving in that area, I don't know if that island's going to
Item number 12.
the island.
Yeah, item
Yeah,
number
12. Mhm.
This one.
12.
Well, we're really wanting to slow people down in this area as well, and make it safer for people walking. So that was the whole thought behind it. But any notes or questions you have, mark them down, and I can get with GAI, and we can maybe come back if it is an issue. But I know,
Yeah, I'm just concerned that the road is too narrow for the island. I mean, I'm pretty sure they use AI to make this image, and it makes it look like it's bigger, but when you actually go down that road's like only this big. So I don't know if that island's actually gonna work down there. So that would be my only concern. I think the ideal is great, but that island, I don't think is enough
Okay.
room for an island.
the line is shifted over because there's no parking on the other side as well. So it is a little not what we have currently, because that line is shifted towards the brewery side.
With respect to the island, I like I like the idea of it because I do think it does slow people down. Where I would have some concern is if there was room between the island and the sidewalk, that you'd have electric scooters and skateboards trying to scoot around that. So if we could fit an island in there, perhaps it could be a little bit smaller to I was going to say Mr. Mayor's point, but perhaps it could be hugged up against the sidewalk to maybe keep something like that from happening from a safety perspective.
Okay.
And then the two crosswalks that we have here, would we be able to add the lighting and the signage like we have over by Decades, where you see the lights blinking when people push a button?
Yes, we can incorporate, but we can maybe do a better one where, like, when you walk up to it, it just automatically, because I know that we've had some complaints about the current one we have throughout town. I've heard it, but yeah, signage and all of that will go into play because I want to make sure that slow pedestrians, all of that kind of stuff too. But I'll make sure that we do include signs.
Could we even look into, I know when I was chair, we talked about it, the railroad, what is it called? The arm that comes,
It comes down.
Yeah.
Could we look into seeing if we could do something like that on the crosswalks?
Maybe I can get with GAI and see what they suggest.
That might be a DOT question.
That
I don't know
just-
if that would be,
And not only
Well,
that is the
that's not a
maintenance
DOT.
of an arm,
yeah.
how they
Yeah.
sometimes get stuck down.
Yeah, but it just fits character of our
Yeah,
town.
I see what you're
so-
saying, absolutely. And on your point about the curb, and I noticed there's no bike racks anywhere here. So maybe it's a possibility, if you didn't want the curb to go all the way to the sidewalk, to put a bike rack in there where nobody can zip through there with a scooter. Or otherwise, you put the curb all the way to the sidewalk and still have a bike rack there for folks to be able to park their bicycles somewhere.
Maybe the bike rack could be in the green space.
Because if we're going to try to incorporate this down with the trail, I know there's going to be a bike rack somewhere on the other end, on the south end, but might be incorporating in a bike rack on the north side. But I do understand what you're saying is the scooters zipping through there, because apparently there's people complaining about
Yeah,
the scooters going to schools now,
yes, yes,
not just in High Springs.
yep.
It does look nice, Amy, and
Thank you.
there's 24 foot of, talking about the stop white line there on the north end. That's pretty wide lane, even if it's 24 from the white to the yellow, from the curb to the double yellow line. That's 24 feet. That is a wide strip, even with itself, if I'm using that as a measuring tool. Is that a 24-inch wide, or is that 20? That's 24-inch wide. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at that wrong. That is not 24 inches long width of a lane. So, do you have any idea? Is that a 10-foot lane? Is it in the planning? I didn't look to see that till just now. So let's see what that is.
I don't,
Yeah, it's 19 feet from the other sidewalk to the.
I
No,
don't have the whole packet with me, I'm sorry.
24-foot parking lot to maybe the center. Is that what they're saying? No. Let's see what that says. Boy, that's some small writing, isn't it?
I have a magnifying glass if you need it.
Apparently it's 24 foot from the curb to the center yellow line. And if that is,
About a 10.
yeah, about 10 feet. So that's still pretty good bit of space. Another thing I see, Amy, is that little median curb there. Is people coming in there with trailers to try to avoid downtown. Are they going to be running up on that curb, making that turn, right turn? And
We'll revisit that.
if somebody is
I'll
pulling a
bring it-
trailer, they should be noticeable of all that, but I see it all the time, people running up on things. And apparently, I see the little stop sign. Is that where they're anticipating putting a stop sign?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the stop sign.
I could definitely see that being tore down with a trailer.
It ain't gonna be that small, I don't
I
think.
know that, but I'm just, I see how some people pull a trailer, so. But it looks good, no doubt. But
And-
definitely look into a bike rack there for folks that are
Well, we
riding
can
a
do
bike.
that fun kind of stuff. This is kind of the
Okay.
construction stuff, so we can add
Gotcha.
all the cool things. You know, I don't need engineering for that, but
Yeah, and then also with the line strips, I know once upon a time we talked about the glow in the dark.
I know. I know. I'm hoping maybe with the trail we can do something there.
When would you anticipate this moving forward, Amy, and how long project, do we know?
That's up to you guys when you want to start. It shouldn't be too long of a project. I don't want to really impact the businesses during their busy times, of course. So I'd want to coordinate with them, you know, but just whenever we have the go-ahead. So I'll go to them with these little questions or these issues, which, I mean, they're very valid. So we want to make sure it's right. And then I can come back to you guys and show you what they have, and then we can roll forward.
Is there a study for the amount of handicap parking spaces we're supposed to have in that required space? Is that?
Yes, they took all that into
Okay,
account.
good deal.
And then is there a projected amount of how much this project is gonna cost?
I did include a sheet in there.
Yeah.
Now, once you go out to bid, you know, sometimes these numbers change, but this is what they projected the cost to be on, I don't know if you guys have the street improvement sheet.
$250,000.
It has a breakdown.
And we have this to spend in CRA.
Yes, yeah, I got the thumbs up, the green light.
Mr. Mayor, there's substantial, there is plenty of cash to pay for this project.
Okay.
Amy, what about infrastructure? If we're going to really clean this up, is there a chance of maybe replacing some water lines or sewer lines in there while this ground is being disturbed?
If there's something that's damaged, we can take care of it, but we can't just go in and do what.
Because
the
it would
city
really
should
be
doing.
costly and damaging to have to replace something after this project is completed and destroys such a nice project. Because it's never ever put back together the way it originally is planned. At least you can always tell. I was just curious.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a great project. I think it's going to be a great value, especially to the Priest Theater being right there. So I will make a motion that we approve this.
Second. I'm sorry, second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we move forward to the RFP phase. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Any comments from?
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. Sue Weller. One of the issues I wanted to bring up was that median or that little island there. We're taking away parking on the west side, and we're taking more parking away with that island there. And I know parking is kind of a premium here in High Springs, especially now with what's going on in the corner being redone for the new businesses there, which I doubt, as I understand, there won't be allowed parking in there, maybe so, but I've got a concern about that. And the other thing I was wondering was, as far as construction, how long would that take? Do we have an idea of how long, once the construction starts, how long would it take? Because one of the concerns I would have is you have the Christmas parade that comes down that street as it ends. So I wouldn't want
No,
that to be interfered with, you know. So,
would make
yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So it was just that island really just seems to take away more parking spaces, especially since you're taking away parking spaces on the west side too. That was an issue.
Question about parking, Amy. Okay, so since we currently own the Priest and there's land on the other side of the Priest, could we not make a parking lot with CRA funds right there? Because we don't have any other property in CRA we can make parking, but we could actually make some parking spaces right there by the Priest, couldn't we?
It's something we can look into.
What you thinking, city manager?
I didn't see.
When we get to that part, I don't know if this is on or not, there, I believe we'll bring some pretty interesting ideas to you, and that may include parking, so we'll come back to that for sure.
Okay.
Have to hit the green button, apparently.
To Member Bloodsworth's point in terms of replacing the water lines while we're there, that makes a lot of sense to me. And while we've got it torn up, he's right, that's the time to do it. So if we could figure out what kind of cost that would add to the project, you don't want to tear it up to do that all over again if you have to.
But we can only touch them if they're damaged with CRA funds.
So I'm not sure if that would also include a study that's separate engineering to do that project, if we
I
could
imagine
come
it
back
would.
to you with an answer.
I imagine it would, yeah. Infrastructure improvements seem to be very much an allowable use for CRA funds.
I believe we'll get to that later in the agenda.
Okay, but I was just talking about as part of this project.
Indeed,
You know,
we definitely hear where
that
you're
would make a
coming
lot of
from, and
sense.
so we'll reach out to the consultants and
Okay.
see if there would be a way to do that if that comes up.
Yeah, okay.
And just to point something else out, I don't know if anybody's thought about it, but with the phone company being right there, that manhole you see on that picture, if that's the right manhole I've been in when I was a telephone contractor, you might want to check with the phone company and see if they have any damage in that manhole system,
Oh,
that they might want to clean that up, fix that while the dirt is being exposed. So if they did have a problem, they wouldn't have to tear up our new street to fix it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I've spent several hours in that manhole fixing a telephone line. But I'm not sure that that's the right one, so I'm not 100% sure on that. It may be to the drainage manhole and not the phone company's manhole. So I might not be correct on that. But that
Worth
might
a
be
look,
something to
though.
look
Yeah.
at, look into.
Any other comments?
I just wanted to make Linda Jones. I just wanted to make sure there's discussion about the appreciator. Has any decisions been made on the appreciator? Maybe I missed something.
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Nothing else? We've got a motion on a motion and a second to approve moving forward with the RFP. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Next item on the agenda, review, consider, and approve the agreement for residential facade grant program for Alice Brown for new windows. It was originally approved last year. Wow.
yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah, she had a few other things pop up unexpectedly and tied up her funds, but now she's ready to go. So I just wanted to bring it to you guys because we haven't entered into an agreement yet. And you know they have to enter into the agreement before they start the construction. So I just wanted to bring it to you guys. We don't currently have any residential facade grants, so we have money in that line item. And the cost went up a little bit, but she would get the full $5,000. I think before she already had another grant at the time, so we were going to do like a portion of it to get her to the $5,000. But I feel like, you know, we have this money, we might as well be putting it back in. But I wanted to bring it to the board for approval before we entered into the contract. Make sure we're still in the same space.
Any questions, gentlemen? No? Anybody want to entertain a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I make a motion that we approve this facade grant for Miss Alice Brown.
Well, thank you.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, Miss Alice Brown.
Yay.
All right, number 3, update on the Springs Hopper Ride Program.
Okay, so, sorry, it always looks better on the computer and then it's kind of gets lost up here, I feel like. But, so the Springs Hopper Project Incentive Grant Program, we awarded them per the board's unanimous 4-0 authorization on April 23rd, 2026. The CRA executed the fixed $20,000 project incentive grant to Honeybee Ventures for the Springs Hopper Shuttle pilot program. We are evaluating its impact on downtown visitation and parking relief. The program launched over the 4th of July weekend to optimize efficiency. The vendor transitioned from the on-demand where, you know, you were just there and there were times that it came around to now you can call for service, and it seems to be a better model for the visitors, for our local visitor patterns. And I'm pleased to report that this pilot is successfully leveraging private and regional partnerships far beyond our initial investment. So that's good. That's what we all aim for, right? The private sector buy-in. So the program has successfully generated local advertising funding through the sale of private sponsorships and onboard video advertisements. The business community is actively investing its own dollars into this shuttle, which is wonderful. And then regional state park partnerships and recent discussions with the grant recipient, both Blue Springs and Alino State Park are officially on board. So once Blue Springs opens, they'll be able to add that one as well. And now they're also eligible for outside grant eligibility because they've added these high traffic zones. State parks, it extends the route to our neighboring counties, and they're eligible for tourism dollars through grant funding from the tourism board. So that's exciting. So moving forward, this means the shuttle is actively moving towards final stability, and then protects our CRA dollars. Ridership data is being tracked, and the CRA will present the return on investment report at the conclusion of the pilot season, but it's doing pretty well, and I'm excited about that. So up here, you can see I just kind of gave a breakdown to just remind everybody how it came about. So in April 8th, they submitted an application. It was CRA board approved on April 23rd, and then the CRA board approved the agreement on May 28th. The grant award money was available June 25th, and then the shuttle program launched its beginning weekend over the 4th of July weekend. Currently, they have stops along the way. They have 6 destinations, so there's a pickup at the downtown area right at the Chamber of Commerce. Florida Springs Institute is a stop, High Springs History Museum, the Canoe Outpost, Alino State Park, and Post Springs, but they had some flow issues with that park, so, but anyway, out of control with that. That was just nature. But so once they transition to that on-demand model, it just seems to be doing better. I'm sorry I put that up there, so I kind of repeated myself. And then, as you guys know, they got that $20,000 grant, and the shuttle service is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the weekends, and they have, I think the previous one had their cute little flyer. And as far as the advertising revenue that they generated through sponsorship placements, and onboard digital displays, the High Springs Brewing Company, Decades on Main, Jewelry Works, the Barber Group, and Stakeout, El Patio, and Serendipity all have advertising in it, so that's exciting. The Free Saturdays, it connects, our visitors with our community, with the businesses, the attractions, history, and all our natural resources. So, it looks like it's set for long-term growth for future seasons, and I'm excited about it. I think you guys did a good job on voting on this.
Yeah, I appreciate that it's actually working because I know they are having a tough season with all the springs being so low. So it's great to see that even in a tough season that it's still being valued and used in the tough season that they're in. So that's great to see.
Are they seeing a difference in riders on Fridays versus Saturdays, I would assume?
I think Saturdays
Yeah.
are a little busier.
Yeah. And is it more successful when people call for it?
Oh yeah, it's working great, and they've had people from all over. John he did a little breakdown as well. So they've had visitors from Denellen, Gainesville, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Miami, Georgia, England, and then of course High Springs and Florida. I think it's great for our town.
With it being an on-demand now instead of a continuous riding, I would hope that the transport company perhaps cut them a break in terms of the cost because they're not continually riding?
I'm not sure. I
would hope so.
I don't know what they've got going on, but
Okay.
Now, the only question that I have we had any complaints about parking in downtown? I know that was one of the concerns about the hoppers was that people's going to take the parking and they're going to jump on the bus. Is that happening?
I haven't heard any complaints.
Okay.
Where are y'all suggesting folks park when they want to do the hopper are they just getting picked up at these two locations and wherever they find a parking spot in that area? Is that what y'all are planning, or are you trying to direct people to park somewhere?
I
Or do
don't
they
know.
pick them up from the spring and come this way?
All
Well,
of the
that would,
above.
yeah, that would make
All of
sense
the
for
above. People
sure.
are getting on at multiple locations. The on-demand is really nice because, say someone wants to stay at one location longer than the group, it's been helpful in that aspect. And the museum has gotten a lot of traffic off of it, which is wonderful.
So I don't know if that's anything that we can suggest to them, but I think it would be great for them maybe to partner with the hotels in town and utilize them to bring people into downtown.
It's a great idea.
It seemed to gin up a lot of interest when people thought about, well, shoot, I can just go downtown and park and get a ride to the Springs. Going the other way seemed to be, it generated a lot of excitement thinking about going the other way. So, okay.
And then they eat lunch downtown, and they, you know, and all that. So that's, I mean, it's great. Do a little shopping.
All right, next on the agenda, number 4, discuss possibility of water system distribution upgrades in the CRA district.
Okay, so this is an item that you wanted to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
So as your CRA staff, my primary responsibility is to ensure that all agency expenditures are consistent with Chapter 163, Chapter 163, Part 3 of Florida statutes. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. And withstand state audit scrutiny. So, you know, my goal is always to provide the board with the best data, research, and the statutory context necessary to support informed decisions that protect, strengthen, and advance our agency's mission. Utility asset mapping is a valuable tool. Like I was in Public Works for 3 years. I live with a waterman, so I understand how important it is. But it is a valuable tool that can support long-term municipal planning, infrastructure management, and informed investment decisions. However, Florida's statutory requirements and guardrails, together with provisions of our redevelopment plan, require us to carefully evaluate and sequence how and when we use our CRA funds for projects of this nature. So it's always got to be in your plan to be able to do it.
It's in our plan.
Huh?
It's in our plan. It's in the strategic plan, where they talk about infrastructure upgrades, public infrastructure needs. That was part of the public engagement early on.
Okay. I don't like shooting down projects. I'm just presenting the information. You guys can ultimately make what decisions you feel. But I know, like, when I gave you some supplemental materials too, if it's already done by your current city, you can't do it. And I know that we did this when I was in Public Works. We had Florida Rural Water, George Glover came out and did all the mapping for us. We were in diamond maps, so all of the manholes, all the lines, everything is recorded and done already, so we can't really read. I don't know why we can't just use what we have, there too, instead of double, spending.
For
sure. So that might be something we need to look into. But yeah, I did a memorandum for you guys. I don't know if you guys read it or seen it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is the problem, because I know I'm going back when I was chair. I know the project can't be continued by CRA, so is that the problem we're having with this, is that CRA would continually need the help in this area? Because I know it's kind of like CRA is like a drop-off. They can start a project, but then they have to drop it off. They can't keep doing it.
Well, and with CRA projects, you have to do things that the city isn't already doing or can't already do. So it's you do the big, cool, nice projects that normally the city wouldn't be able to afford in order to bring in economic development and and life to your city. So I don't know. I can read through this if you want, because I get nervous up here. I don't know how to say this stuff, but it's, anyway. Do you want me to read the memorandum, or have you guys already read it?
I just saw it for the first time tonight, so I have not looked
Okay,
at it.
okay.
But, I mean, I guess my perspective here is that any kind of improvement we can make to the water distribution system benefits everybody, not just the CRA district. And to your point, the study that they did, it'd be great if we could go back to that and look at that pipe map and see what is there that's old. Is there anything within the CRA district that is still asbestos pipe? You know, how old is it? Because any kind of improvement to the water quality here is going to benefit every restaurant here. You know, their water quality, I bet the brewery, getting the best water we could to them would certainly help them with brewing. And, you know, I mean, we've got, I remember when we had a CDBG grant application come to us, this might have been before you, Commissioner Bloodsworth, where the CDBG board that we impaneled here begged us to do water system distribution upgrades, and we didn't. We didn't listen to them, but that was a totally different project. We did a stormwater improvement, and we're still working on it, I'm pretty sure, but people have asked for improved water quality since I've been here. And, you know, I mean, I don't know, it's an expensive venture, and it would be kind of singularly focused if this is what we decided to do. We wouldn't be able to afford to do much of anything else. But, you know, I mean, we could take certain corridors in the CRA district that would benefit, you know, the most people and see how much it would cost. Engineering, that's going to be expensive too. But if we could start with a pipe map that we already have and identify where there could be some critical needs for upgrades, I mean, my understanding is that this is an appropriate use of funds. Am I wrong?
It's not if you're bringing in something new. So like, I think this would be great if we used it, if we got the expansion area. That would be a perfect fit, because then you can supply what they need for affordable housing to come, or a hotel, or whatever actual redevelopment comes. You're not allowed to use CRA funds for maintenance. So typically, this would be what this Public Works should already be doing.
But we're not. And that, you know, I mean, if we
And
could
that's
improve
where
the
you
water
have to be
quality
really careful, because
for
you
the people who are
can't,
here,
you can't supplement the general fund, and that's kind of what it'd be doing if you're, but I can read you my recommendation.
I just really want to understand, is this actually something we could do? Are you saying, no, we can't do this?
I don't feel good supporting it. I don't feel like it's, but
Why?
let me,
You think
can I
we're gonna
read?
get crosswise with funds? And, because, I mean, I've looked over 163 Part 3, and it says right here, water and sewer improvements, infrastructure improvements.
So if there's a project that needs it, so say you don't have businesses downtown, and it would bring businesses coming down, or say you have an apartment complex coming in, and in order to get that apartment complex to come in, you've got to provide them a water line and update the infrastructure there to support, then you could do it, because you've got the redevelopment coming. If you're just doing it as maintenance, it's real tricky. You
So
don't
it
want to.
cannot benefit the current residents.
I'm going to pop this over to the attorney, if you don't mind. What is your?
It can benefit the current residents. What is being discussed, and I'm also just sort of now reading this as we're here. The expenses that you all are allowed to pay from the CRA funds are obviously restricted to certain things, as we've discussed. You can adopt certain projects. For example, if in order to develop affordable housing, you would have to bring in sewer or water or et cetera to a certain area. If in order to do that, part of that infrastructure was for that project, that is something that funds can be used for. But basically, think of CRA projects as things that the city could do if they felt like it, right? Could spend money on, right? Because there's nothing that restricts the city from spending money in the CRA district. You all, as a commission, could choose to do that. But it can't be something that the city has a responsibility to do, i.e. keep and maintain infrastructure, because the city has an obligation to do that. The CRA cannot pay for something that is already an assigned responsibility and requirement of the city. That is maybe the easiest, simplest analysis that I can give. If the city is already required to maintain infrastructure, maintain policing, et cetera, other ideas, right? Other things that the city is required to do, then the CRA cannot fund that. If it is a special over and above project for things that the city doesn't have to do but would be nices in the CRA district, would be nice to have affordable housing, would be nice to have innovative policing, would be nice to get rid of these blighted areas, right? But not a responsibility that the city already holds statutorily, then that is something that the CRA can spend money on. That is maybe the simplest way I can sort of put it into two categories. And I think what we're talking about here is the city has an obligation already for the maintenance of the infrastructure that we're talking about. And so if that is the case, then spending CRA funds on that is not appropriate outside of if it's part of this bigger project for the CRA.
So the bigger project with redoing this corridor, that's already a project that the CRA has identified. Could we do that in tandem with that project?
The specifics are really going to matter. What exactly we're upgrading, what exactly we're maintaining, what exactly is being proposed as far as the infrastructure is going to really, really matter. And I think that part of it is that obviously we're still in sort of conceptual phase right now. And so the specifics are not very clearly outlined. So it's difficult to give you a absolutely no, we can't spend money on this square foot, that square foot. Generally speaking, the outline that's been given to you is correct, right? We have to have a project in our plan in order to work on it. It has to be something that we're permitted to spend money on under the statute, et cetera. And generally speaking, as an overarching theme, the state does not like it when CRA spends money on things that are already city responsibility things. So even though the CRA is working on this project, the upgrade or the maintenance of the fixing of this infrastructure is not something that is required for the general upgrade project, right? For instance, because we're talking about whether or not we do it, right? If we couldn't do it, if the whole thing was in order to clear up the blight, we have to do X, Y, and Z with our infrastructure, we have to create infrastructure here, then that's a CRA project. Because we're talking about, okay, we can do it with, or we can do it without, is a good indicator that it's not necessary to the project that the CRA has identified. So it's not a critical core piece, and that is a consideration. I'm not saying it will be or won't be one way or the other, but it's a good consideration for the state to come in and say, okay, you didn't have to do X, Y, and Z for the infrastructure for that project that you all had delineated. And you all, by spending that money, were taking over a city required, a city function that the city general fund should be taking care of as a CRA, which is not permissible.
If I may jump in here real quick. So speaking of the project here, so let's take the Priest, for example. If that comes online, there might be some fire suppression. We need some more water pressure. I believe that would be, for an instance, so going back to the water lines, so that would be a use of CRA funds. And then also the electrical lines that are through there, I wrote some notes. for potential upgrades to that business. So I believe we can come back to you with some infrastructure projects that are tied to the project she presented earlier that will be allowable uses. So
It would
not
make-
totally. And I think just hearing this, and I could be wrong, that the key word is redevelopment. So if you already have a residential area that we have water and sewer in, if there's not redevelopment in that area, then it would not be a appropriate use.
Okay.
Commissioner Watts, may I chime in on?
Sure, please.
So, with that saying, with the advancement of the priest or even growth in that area where this project is, just hypothetically, we have a 4-inch water line. For new growth, a 4-inch line may not be sufficient enough, and people can't add on to our water and sewer, depending on what size of sewer, and we need to upgrade to a bigger size to be able to have capability of water pressure and sewer lines. Would that fall under the lines of redevelopment to be able to give capacity for new businesses or new growth in the future, since you're redeveloping that a particular area, wherever that might be, just in that CRA department that we're working on?
So that's a lot closer to what we're talking about as permissible use of CRA funds. It's not, obviously none of it is cut and dry, and I disagree that, with anyone who says the statutes are clear, because I don't think so. But I think that what you're articulating is we've got a project, and the project is we're going to bring in X redevelopment. And through that project, an engineer or a planner or some individual with letters behind their name say, hey, you don't have the water infrastructure that you need in order to do this project. Okay, well, now we're talking about something that's affiliated with the CRA project and not just like a, hey, while we're here, it's you have a project that you cannot do without this infrastructure, right? And so it wouldn't be a discussion of, do we do the water line upgrade or do we not do the water line upgrade in that scenario? It would be, do we do the project or do we not do the project? Because a project requires the water line upgrade. Does that make sense? Okay.
Especially if you're gonna do for future businesses in the area upgrading, you got to have the infrastructure to supply that.
Yeah. So just think, does the project hinge on that infrastructure expenditure? If the project hinges on the infrastructure expenditure, not a do we do it, do we not do it, that is sort of what we're looking at for CRA expenditures.
Okay. I guess it confuses me then that Chapter 163, Part 3 specifically mentions water and sewer improvements. So, I mean, I don't want to get us crosswise by any means with how we're spending our funds, but I think that it would make a lot of sense to try to tie in that corridor improvement with the priest potentially at some point to make sure that we take a comprehensive approach and do something once.
And I think what you're articulating is what, in my opinion, makes the statutes very confusing, which is water and sewer. It specifically mentions that's fine. And then you read all of the other ones in conjunction, and it's really talking about if that's part of your redevelopment and necessary to your redevelopment project, then that could be a part of the expenditure. And so that is, I think I agree with you entirely, which is I hate that it's, okay, it's in this section and then it's in this section, and if you don't read every single one of them together, then you're lost. And even when you do, you're lost.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? Any questions or comments from the audience? All right. We will move on to chair report. He doesn't have one. Staff report?
Nothing, just excited to be in front of you guys and to be moving along with some things.
All right. No announcements that I know of. Any public comments? It's the last thing on here. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
So moved.
All right. We're
We're going to call this commission meeting to order on August 27, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have roll call, please.
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Here.
Commissioner Grender,
Here.
Commissioner Howell will be absent, Commissioner White.
Here.
All right, we're going to have invocation and pledge by Vice Mayor Wayne Bloodsworth.
Thanks again for everybody being here tonight, so let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we just thank you for our town, Lord. We just ask that you guide us to be able to do the will and the work of our commission and our citizens, Father. I ask that you continue to be with our first responders, Lord. Be with all our staff, Lord, as our public works and our inside staff, Lord. Just guide them and keep them safe, Lord. Give them protection. Lord, again, thank you for this day, and I just ask in all his blessings, Lord. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number C, we're going to have approval of tonight's agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Approval of consent agenda 1, minutes of July 30th, 2026, special commission meeting. 2, minutes of August 13th, 2026, commission meeting. 3, acceptance of the 2023-2024 CRA audit and city audit. 4, debt service payment for well number 3, water enterprise and my meeting, 50% water, 50% wastewater, canoe outpost, general fund, and both wastewater treatment plant obligation, wastewater enterprise. That was a tongue tie. 5, payment of CKH Consultant LLC. 6, amendment to the service agreement between the City of High Springs and Hoffman Construction Inc. for the Priest Theater renovations and preservation project.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just please, there's one correction that I need to make, please, on item number 2, the minutes of the August 13th meeting on page 3. When we had the quasi judicial discussion, I spoke to Plan Board member Tim Bolliger, not Brad Riddle, and I just wanted to clarify that, please. Thank you.
I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as you so brilliantly read through.
Second.
Any citizen comments?
KH Consulting contract. The summary page states that the engagement letter was not to exceed, that the professional staff time was not to exceed $10,000. However, underneath that, it states that between April 17th of 25 and July 16th of 26, there was $111,585 paid to CKH. And I would like to know if there's an explanation as to why that is so, and did that not indeed exceed what they were allowed to be paid?
Mr. Mayor, as you're aware, I was not here during that time frame, but in my research, as each individual invoice came in, it was below the threshold of $25,000, and therefore it was approved by the city manager and for payment. So cumulatively, yes, it added up to that, but individually, as they came in, he approved payment of those invoices. They were individually less than the $25,000.
Well, in my opinion, that is not the way that should have happened. And in fact, it should have been brought back before you for approval. I understand it's already paid, and I understand you weren't here, but
And
that's not appropriate.
Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, that is why we're bringing it before you now, is to ensure that doesn't happen that way again. So we are, you'll hopefully approve the payment of these as a commission, and then we will engage them under separate cover.
Now, going forward, is there a way that instead of, I don't know how to word it, I guess, in the city manager budget, but to make sure that it's a limit of how much he can spend overall instead of how much he can just spend in increments? Is there a way for us to change that language?
There are several process improvements that we are making to ensure that all of our purchasing threshold procedures are followed. We are putting in a contracts management type function. Also, we are bringing back purchase orders for the 27 year for all contracts at the beginning of the year that encumbers the full amount, and you will see those at the last meeting in September. So you will all be aware of the amounts and they will be encumbered up front.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments on the consent agenda? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, we have no special presentations tonight. Unfinished business, item number 1, discuss and consider an act on ordinance 2026-04.
Mr. Mayor, this is ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, amending the adopted fiscal year 2026 budget of the City of High Springs, repealing all ordinances in conflict and providing an effective date.
Clarify, this is the second reading of the first budget amendment that I brought to you at the last meeting, where we are pulling out some of the restricted funds, making some clerical adjustments to the budget, balancing certain funds, and we are adding some grant revenue that was unanticipated at the time the 26 budget was adopted, and so we are amending for those.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-04 on second reading.
Second.
Do we have any citizen comments? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grender,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
All right, unfinished business, item number 2, discuss, consider, and act on resolution 2026-V.
Mr. Mayor, this is resolution number 2026-V, a preliminary resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs stating the reasons for the intended removal of Jeremy Marshall as city manager pursuant to section 3.03 of the city charter, offering the city manager an opportunity for public hearing before the commission on the matters raised herein, affirming the suspension of the city manager from duty with pay, providing for notice and service, providing for severability, and providing effective date. Before we start discussing the resolution, you instructed our office at the last meeting to enter into negotiations with counsel for Mr. Marshall. You have a proposed settlement or separation agreement in front of you. The provisions in your city charter require that if the city manager resigns, he give 90 days notice. So I'll just sort of walk through, it's a very short agreement, 1 page, so I'll walk you through what this does. This is a resignation by Jeremy Marshall as city manager. This is a waiver by the city of that 90-day notice requirement, so allowing him to resign effective immediately. The third paragraph is accrued leave, that he will be paid only for his accrued and unused paid time off. In accordance with the city's policies, less applicable holdings, he's going to receive that payment in the next payroll. The fourth paragraph is a mutual release and covenant not to sue, which is essentially a release of liability from either party to sue the other. There's no waiver of sovereign immunity. We put that in all of our agreements. And then this is the entire agreement of the parties. Mr. Marshall has already signed this agreement in the hopes that the city commission will approve same. So those are the terms that we were able to negotiate with Mr. Marshall. So if you would like to instead of adopting the resolution, approve the separation agreement, that is an available option to you.
All right, any questions from the commission?
So once we would sign it tonight, he's gone.
He would be effective tonight, he would have resigned. That's
So,
correct.
I tell you, I think former manager Marshall has deserved nothing less than termination, especially based on what we've seen and then what has been brought to us since that time. However, and this is going to cost us, what, around $15,000 tonight?
Right around, yes.
We're either going to pay him $15,000 tonight to go away, or we're going to pay him $15,000 over the next 6 weeks to go away and terminate him. I mean, that's truly what we're looking at right now, based on timeframes and his 10-day thing and everything else. I think it's better for the citizens of this town and whatnot, in my opinion, to just be done with this and move on and start moving in the right direction, finally, like we have been with the new interim leadership that we've had and our new people in place, and get this place back to what we know it can be and what it deserves to be, and put us in a right spot. So whereas before, and I still stand by this, we have all the cause in the world, but it also prevents us from being stuck into some frivolous lawsuit that will no doubtedly cost us money and raise our insurance rates next year for an attorney. If we can just get this signed and get him gone, in my opinion, that is the best thing we can do tonight for the citizens of High Springs.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the separation agreement.
I'll second it.
Any citizen comments?
I agree. And that would probably be hard, and some people would think what the deal is, but I would agree with Mr. Grunder's assessment that if you prolong this, he's going to continue to get paid. This ends it today. And so I would agree, and then we can start fresh. And so I would agree with them, and I thank you.
All right, any other citizen comments?
Commissioner Grunder, well put. Thank you. Let's move on. Christmas is on the way.
All right, this is a roll call vote. Sorry.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. Okay, so questions now that is, do we need to be discussing what we're going to do moving forward?
I have some information for you I was planning to provide in the city attorney report, but I can provide it now regarding it. It's up to you all.
We can wait.
Okay.
Okay, citizen requesting comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm here tonight to bring up an issue dealing with our city charter, specifically Section 2.08A. The heading of that is City Commission Meetings. In January 23rd, 2025, a discussion took place on proposed amendments to that charter. And there were several, I think 5 proposed changes. And in that particular section, 2.08, the Charter Review Board had proposed language dealing with the notice of special meetings from 12 hours to 3 days, and as well deleting the last sentence, which stated that, or requires new commissioners to be inducted at 10 a.m. the morning following the election. A concern was raised during that January meeting about emergency meetings. And so when the attorneys came back with the language. They had language in there for emergency meetings, which was fine. But what did not come back to you was the deletion of that particular sentence. And so what you have now in the current ordinance is that new commissioners are inducted basically the next day after the election, which is not something that we have been doing for years. And my suggestion would be to you that when you move next, I guess, January, to look at the remaining proposed amendments to the charter, that we fix that particular sentence be deleted. In reviewing the actual different packets, the January 23rd packet and 25, the February 13th and the March 13th packet, I have a copy here that is a timeline basically for all of you, which I'll give to Angela to hand out to you. What is strange is that in that January meeting, there were 3 copies of the charter. The first one was the charter as it was then. The second one was a charter that showed yellow highlighting and blue highlighting, yellow highlighting being the proposed language that had not been voted upon yet. The blue highlighting was language that was approved in 2024 on the ballot. But there was a third copy, and I don't know where this came from, but the only change that was in section 2.8A, and that language said that last sentence was not there. A different sentence was put in there. It said the first meeting for each newly elected commissioner for induction into office shall be held at the first regular meeting following the final certification of election results, which shall declare the candidate commissioner-elect. I don't know where that came from, but it was in that packet. But it did not, that language did not get put into the charter in 2025, and the old language is still there. So my request is that you mark it in your notes, however, for that particular sentence to be deleted in the next review and next year. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Interim City Manager, since I'm not sure who's going to be sitting there, and City Attorney. My name is Linda Jones. I served this city for 6 years as Commissioner, including terms as Mayor and Vice Mayor. I no longer sit on the board on this dais, but I still care deeply about High Springs and the people who serve it. Recently, I saw online comments criticizing Commissioner Bloodworth's temperament. I want to speak to that, not because I served with him, I did not, but because I understand the job he holds and the pressure that comes with it. Commissioner Bloodworth speaks firmly at times, and he cares deeply about the issues facing the city. That is not a flaw. This is what commitment looks like. It is easy to misunderstand that from the outside, especially in social media spaces where context and experience are often missing. Let me say that again. Especially in social media spaces where context and experience are often missing. And I want to say something carefully here because it matters in experience. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place here. Because it matters. In the past few years, I have watched commissioners and raise their voices and staff interrupt them and speak in genuinely disrespectful ways. I have watched moments where the tone from the dais crossed lines that should never be crossed with employees or citizens. Those incidents were real, public, and far more concerning than anything being said about Commissioner Bloodworth today. Yet those moments received little criticism, certainly nothing like what I'm seeing directed at Commissioner Bloodworth now. This is a double standard, and it is not healthy for our community. We should hold all commissioners to the same expectations of professionalism and respect. When we evaluate someone's temperament, we should do so based on the full picture, not isolated comments from social media. High Springs has struggled with a climate of negativity, especially online, where personal attacks and misinformation have replaced genuine conversation. That environment discourages good people from serving and makes it harder for commissioners to focus on solutions instead of defending themselves against rumors and the constant fear of litigation, as we have seen in recent years. Commissioner Bloodsworth has served the city with sincerity and heart. As he concludes his time on the commission, I want to publicly thank him for his dedication and for the seriousness for which he approached his role. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Good evening, City of High Springs. My name is Bert Weatherington. I'm an Alachua County community activist and the event chair of the 250th anniversary of America Golf Tournament and Family Fun Day that will be held on Sunday, November the 8th at Turkey Creek Golf Course from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Starting at 7 a.m., we'll open up the silent auction and registration. At 8 a.m., all law enforcement, first responders, and our veterans will be honored around the flagpole at Turkey Creek Golf Course. Throughout the day will be a family fun day with a dunking booth, which will be a celebrity dunking booth, and your high school football coach, Ernest Graham, has agreed to be in the dunking booth this year, as well as anyone else that would be like to celebrities from your town or anywhere else that would like to come. There will be a bounce house for kids throughout the day. There'll be music. At 2 p.m., we will have dignitaries that will be able to speak on behalf of their city or on behalf of our Lieutenant Governor has been invited as a Green Beret to attend. And we'll have other dignitaries that could possibly be there. But I just want to invite everyone in the city to participate. We will be giving away special trophies to law enforcement who compete against each other in different agencies. Chief Shepard has said he is going to do a shared team with other agencies in the area. And so we are wanting to honor this in a very special way for the 250th anniversary. This event is sponsored by the organization called the Knights of Columbus. And this organization is very well known all over the world. And this event will be an annual event every year, the Sunday of Veterans Day, every year at Turkey Creek Golf Course. So we hope that you and the city of High Springs will come out that day. We hope to have about 2,000 people or more, 120 golfers. All proceeds of this event will go to the Veterans, Special Olympics, Catholic Charities, St. Francis Catholic Academy, A Woman's Answer, and other charities. Like I said, the charities will change every year, but this is going to be a very big one for the 250th anniversary, and this is the first one for Alachua County. Our county commissioners are very excited, and as I go around to the different municipalities of Alachua County, we hope to have all municipalities involved. City of Alachua is very excited as well to be hosting this event. So thankful to be here tonight. You have a form that I passed out along with my contact information for this event. And if you would like to sign up, if you know any businesses here in the city of High Springs who would like to give a silent auction item for our live auction, for our silent auction, please let me know. We are looking to hopefully make over $20,000 to $50,000 on this event. This is very big, and it is the 33rd annual golf tournament for the Knights of Columbus, but the first ever family fun day on a Sunday. We know that church events happen that day, but that's why we're going to have it all day long. Later on in the evening, we'll have a Texas Roadhouse dinner from 5 to 6. The banquet awards ceremony will be from 6 to 7, and there'll be a live band from 7 to 10. If you've ever heard of Gator Ron Blake, who is a well-known former school teacher around Alachua County Schools, he now has a jukebox duo, and he's going to be performing at 2:45 to 5 p.m. So, at 80 years old, he's performing. He comes to several different karaoke places. He was at Pink Flamingo for many, many years, and they loved him there. And so we are, he's really excited about this opportunity to be a part of this. So we hope that the City of High Springs will definitely be a part, and we know that Chief Shepherd is looking forward to this as well. Thank you again so much.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you here. Something just I found out about, and it confounds me. To me, it only happens in government, not private business. I became aware that our former Fire Chief Peters, works full-time as a station captain for Suwannee County. He's full-time. Yet he's an employee here for part-time as our fire chief, and we're paying him. Now, somebody's going to have to explain to me how a full-time fire chief in Suwannee County has the time and presence to oversee a fire department part-time while we're paying him. It would seem to me that there has to be somebody within the staff that you could name as an interim as you search for a fire chief. But this would never happen in private business. I apologize on the deal. I joke about this all the time. This can only happen in government, but I don't know if that's the deal, but somebody would have to explain to me. He's full-time in Suwannee, and he's part-time here. How does that happen? I mean, it's stunning to me. I mean, I'm at a loss for words, but I know you're not going to comment on it now, and I wouldn't. If I was sitting in your chair, I wouldn't either. But something's wrong with that. Something needs to be done, interim somebody, and not have this guy who was ours and left, but by golly, he's back. And I do not know the gentleman, so I'm not talking disparagingly about him. I'm talking about we're the ones that gave him the part-time position. I think that needs to be looked at very, very closely to understand what we've actually done. And being that we are money conscious, we're paying this guy for what? Thank you.
How are y'all guys doing tonight? Mayors, commissioners, everybody else, chief. I passed y'all out a letter. It's a thing I'm sending that out next week to the FDEP. That's where I'm at right now with the prime conduit plant. I've came up here. I live at the structure behind it. It's 200 feet away. It's not a house, it's a structure. I don't sleep in it. It's hard to be there. I bought this house for a house, not for not be able to relax and enjoy and have peace and quiet. In that thing that I gave you, they got wrote up, prime conduit got wrote up by FDEP in 2025 for doing unpermitted upgrades since 2022. So they were doing, now they say no, and then blah, blah, you can go on, but that's what the write-up was. So they've been doing over there and upgrading, didn't tell the city. They got a permit for the city for a bathroom upgrade, nothing. They got nothing from you guys. No permit. They moved all those silos, upgraded those. They went from 8 extruder lines to 5 extruder lines. Do y'all know what an extruder line is? Does anybody know? It's a big thing. It's got a screw that pushes this PVC that they heat to 600 degrees, and it pushes it and makes the god-awfulest noise you want to hear. And it just goes through. They've gone from 8 extruder lines to 5. But they say they don't need the permit because of this. It was like this and like stuff, and the silos were, they've upgraded. They went from 8 to 5 extruder lines, but their production went up. And they've gone from 8 receiver bins to 5. So they've cut down machinery, but the production went up. And the neighbors, they are sorry neighbors, guys. Imagine having a neighbor that you come home to every day. First thing I get is the truck unloading to 10 o'clock. That goes, and it is loud. You can't sit outside. You hear it in your house. I've told y'all this several times. You can't escape it anywhere in your house. You cannot escape it. You hear it all night long. Once the trucks are done, then they go with the blowers. They're called cyclone blowers. That's cyclone blowers. And the extruder thing has a crammer screw. What, do these names sound quiet to y'all? They're not quiet. They're not quiet. And that's not the odors. I would like to get, I've asked Chief, and if I have to get an escort, I would like to get behind them. They put that wastewater out there in that ditch. And then they have a method 9. I've learned more than you ever want to know about particulate matter and the rules and regulations of the FDEP. Y'all's code enforcement, ask them, what do? They call prime conduit. Kelly Buck, that's the people I call it the fix-it men. The noise complaint I had, they called Kelly Buck. They did an incomplete noise study from 10 to 5. They got nothing during the day. They've got 3 scrap grinders. Do y'all know what a scrap grinder is? A pipe scrap grinder, PVC pipe scrap grinders. They got 3 of them. Y'all seen them tree things by the road where they put the trees through there? They got 3 of them. They scrap grind 6-inch pipe in all their scraps. Guess where that noise and all that dust goes? And the odor, the odor is unbearable. They heat that stuff up, but anyway, it's in the particular matter they put out. It's just unreal. But they've got a method 9 test. I would like to see code enforcement get more involved. I would like to know if those machines they have over there, they're allowed to go in there and find out. Go in there and find out, did they put the new extruder lines in there? They've gone from 8 to 5, but they process more now than they did when they had 8 extruder lines. I can't explain that. It doesn't make sense to me. And then they talk about these numbers. Y'all know how many pounds? Y'all know how much they're allowed to do per hour? 7.5 tons per hour. One of those trucks that come in, 55,000 pounds of material on them. That's what they unload. That's what they're doing. 7.5 tons per hour, that's 180 tons per day. 1,260 per week. 5,400 tons per month. Y'all know how much they're moving? And then can somebody go in there and ask for the records? You know, how much are they producing? Because they're producing more. They went from 24/5 to 24/7. I moved in May 24. In May 25, they went to 24/7 from 24/5.
I'm sorry, can you give us your name for the record?
Charlie Mills,
Thank you.
22527 Railroad Avenue. Thank you for your time. I didn't mean to go over.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask him one question, please? Mr. Mills, you're talking about codes enforcement, sir. Have you reached out to EPD in Gainesville? Because when it comes to environmental compliance, the codes enforcement is kind of a different issue. And I would say EPD in Gainesville.
I've started here. I've gone to I'm at the FDEP now. That's going out next week. What I just handed y'all out.
Okay.
And then that's where it's at right now.
Okay.
And then they need somebody to go around there and see what they're doing. They have done, anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is George Tatum. I'm a citizen of High Springs, and I want to give a couple of positives and maybe a negative or such. In this past week, I've had several interactions with different individuals throughout the city, both some permanent, some interim, and some on their way out the door for various reasons. Every single one of those has been positive, whether it's been answering questions, listening, or pointing me in the right direction. So there is positive things happening in this city, and I want to make sure that people know that. Yes, we have a lot of negative things going on. We have issues with ethics and honesty and just a whole lot of different things in my wording that need to be addressed and are slowly being addressed. And I hope continue to get addressed so our city can grow and be the city that we all know and love for it to be. I'm worried that we're hemorrhaging. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about what I know best because my son is with the fire department and I have volunteered there. We're losing personnel like crazy. We shouldn't be, okay? We should be supporting our people, whether it's visiting them, talking to them, letting them have a voice. Mr. Shepherd, I don't mean this in any way, shape, or form against you, but the police department were able to voice their opinion at commission meetings. Why are the firefighters not allowed to? It should be equal opportunity across the board. That's my negative. My positive to that is I know we're hemorrhaging in huge ways with our money. I know that we're looking at all these kind of cuts. This is going to surprise you. I don't necessarily disagree with some of them at this point, but what I do ask you to do is if you are going to make these cuts, if we are going to lose these employees, please, these are people, these are family, these are people that are crawling in sewer lines, digging your ditches, protecting your roads, protecting your families, coming to your house for calls, stopping the bad guy, whether it be for the FBI or for the local idiot driving down the road. Look at mergers. Look at, somebody needs to be in the ears of the county saying, can we merge with you somehow, some way, so we can protect our people? Waldo did it. It was a success. All of those people went to the county. Some high positions, some low positions, but it happened. If we are even any way, shape, or form thinking about losing our people, whether it be public works, police, or fire, get on the phone, go meet with these people and try to save them, save their jobs so they don't have to go beg and borrow to take care of their families. If we don't have people, we have nothing. If we're not communicating with our people, we have nothing. Some of the people that we have in our different departments, they feel like they're not being communicated to. They feel like they're behind the iron curtain because they're basically told to sit down, shut up, and we'll talk to you when we want to talk to you. Again, that's my words. It shouldn't be that way. Our people should be the first one to know things that are allowed to be instead of it going through the backdoor grapevine. Because all that does is cause dissent, causes for morale issues, and why would you want to come to work for that? Why would you want to take care of your community that you're supposedly working for and is supposed to be taking care of you? I know government is government and some things have to be separate and you have to go through these chain of commands and so on and so forth. I understand that. I'm a son of a military officer. Chain of command is important. Chain of command must be done. But come on, we're humans, we're family. Start talking to each other. Start taking care of our people.
All right, any other citizen comments? All right, commission response.
Mr. Mayor, if I may respond to Mr. Tatum, I would love nothing more than to sit and talk with every firefighter and every police officer we have. We're not allowed to. That's a violation of charter, and even casual conversations that I've had in the past, I've been accused of violating charter. I would love to do that.
Well, what I mean by that, ma'am, is during one of the commission meetings,
Mm-hmm.
other departments were allowed to, for lack of a better term, break the charter.
Gotcha.
Sir,
I got you.
Sir, you have to come to the mic.
I wish we could. I would love to be able to sit and have lunch with the fire department, the police department, Public Works. But
And again, I understand that because again, rules are rules, and honesty and ethics, if you have that, you have nothing.
Right.
If you're not a person of your word, you have nothing. But I think that if we're giving permission to other departments
Right.
to come in front of the commission
Right.
and speak, then it needs to be across the board when it's asked for.
Understood.
And not being allowed. And that's all, because again, I understand you can't have one-on-one conversations, and we don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize the charter or being construed of anything else. But we also need to be fair, because those men and women, they deserve to be heard also.
I agree with you.
Thank
Those
you.
are operational constraints that
Yeah.
we may not even be
Yes,
aware
ma'am.
of.
And I understand that.
So, thank you, sir.
All right, any other commission response? All right, new business item number 1, discuss, consider, and act on ordinance 2026-05.
Mr. Mayor, this is ordinance number 2026-05, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget of the City of High Springs, repealing all ordinances in conflict and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, Leslie Moyer, Finance Director. This is the first reading of the second budget amendment, where we continue to try to pull out the restricted funds from the special revenue fund that kind of housed all of them before. We are pulling out the gas tax and creating its own fund. We're creating the wild spaces, public places, parks, putting it in its own fund. We are creating a wild spaces, the infrastructure surtax for roads. That is going into its own fund. With that movement, we're appropriating the revenues and expenses in the new funds. We are reallocating some budget for some expenses that were unanticipated. We're not adding budget, we're just moving it outside of the fund function department that is the city manager's authority. So this is the first reading of this second budget amendment.
All right, any questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any questions because Leslie was willing to sit with me for almost 2 hours to go through this, so I appreciate your time so much.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that because I did see a comment on Facebook. They were saying we're going really fast with budget, but yeah, she has laid the foundation out for us very nicely. So I think everybody has a clear understanding of what's going on. So we appreciate you.
I can only echo that. It's a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve ordinance 2026-05 as read.
Second.
All right, any citizen comments?
Weller, I just have a question. When I look at the budget that was in the packet, like, for instance, under number 51, general government, then you have several numbers, 01, 02, 03, but there's nothing delineating what that is for. It's, in other words, 05 is $6,100 for an expense, but there's nothing on that line saying what that line item is in particular. And I'm just wondering if we can have something saying what those line items are.
On that particular one, I can answer that for you. That particular one on the 05 for the $6,100, that is allocating $6,100 to the city manager's budget to make sure there's enough in for any payout.
Okay, but I guess my question is there a title or a name to these to these individual little line items?
I can certainly in the future add the department's name next to it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it would make evident to be able to understand it better,
Okay.
I think.
I'm trying to develop
Oh, I know you are, and I'm not
that-
criticizing you at all. You think you're doing a wonderful job. When I look at it, and I don't know what that's for, and I was just asking
Okay,
if that
I
could
would
be
be
done.
more than happy to add the department names in there. And as we proceed through this process. I think what y'all will see is a whole lot more than what you're used to seeing, so I think you'll get a comfort level with what we're trying to do here with being transparent.
All right, any other citizen comments? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth.
Yes.
All right, new business item number 2, discuss, consider, and act on resolution 2026-W.
Mr. Mayor, this is Resolution 2026-W, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs approving the extension agreement between the City of High Springs and Wilden Engineering for Code Enforcement Officer Services, authorizing the Mayor of the City of High Springs to execute the agreement on behalf of the City of High Springs, providing for conflicts and providing an effective date. Mr. Mayor, this is just an extension of your current agreement so that we continue on for a 1-year term as permitted by the original agreement.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we approve Resolution 2026-W as presented.
Second.
Any citizen comments? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder.
Yes.
All right, new business item number 3, discuss, consider, and act on a resolution 2026-X.
Mr. Mayor, this is Resolution 2026-HEX, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of High Springs approving change orders number 2 and 3 between the City of High Springs and Kurtz Construction, Inc. for FDEP CR 236 wastewater extensions, authorizing the Mayor of the City of High Springs to execute the agreement on behalf of the City of High Springs, providing for conflicts and providing an effective date.
Mayor, I can explain this a little bit. As this project has been evaluated, we have determined that there was an extra lift station and manhole that needed to be added to the project. The change order 2 is for the additional materials and some price increases that have incurred with the delays that have happened. So that's change order number 2, and number 3 is for the fencing associated with the location of the lift station that's going in.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask a question. Leslie, I didn't think to ask you this when we met. The funding for this, is it covered by the grant?
Yes, ma'am. It is reimbursable, like
Okay,
it has
so
been
that's good.
explained. We'll have to pay Kurt's Construction, but then
Okay.
it is reimbursable through the grant.
Okay. Now, I just want to go on record. I don't know, Commissioner Grunder's had to deal with this a lot more than I have. But I'm really disappointed in the engineer on this project. They forgot who they were working for. They were not responsive enough to us, and I just want it to be on record that I'm very disappointed with their willingness to do what we needed them to do. It put the project at risk.
Mr. Mayor, there's also been if I can just note, there's been a inquiry from staff. Obviously, there's a lot of time restraints on this project. Staff has wondered, I mean, we may need to have special meetings if we don't do this. If you would like to amend the resolution to allow staff to approve additional change orders so long as they do not exceed the grant funding for purposes of expediency. That's been a request that's been made, so for your consideration as well.
Yeah, I think that's a smart idea as long as it's not going to exceed. So then that way we won't have to keep bringing it back and delaying another week, especially with the time constraints that we're already in, to make sure that we get it done. Because if we don't get it done in a certain time, then we lose it, right?
Gotta spend it or we lose it.
Well, let's not make them stop now, because I don't have a road. I got holes in it. Driving on my poor neighbor's grass.
Commissioner Watts, I agree what you were saying about the delays with the engineer and other issues that we have dealt with. I think we need to look at something different with our engineer because we should not be in this situation right now. Our attorneys have worked diligently trying to get all this moving, and they can only do so much. So I guess we can look at that in the future, but something needs to change with this particular, whether it's an individual or a company, something needs to change. And we as a commission need to do better with this. So I make a motion to accept 2026X if it's time for that.
Do you want to make it? Well, I shouldn't ask you that, but yeah.
With the changes that we have said to give staff the chance to make changes if need be to keep this project moving forward.
Not to exceed the grant funding.
Not to exceed the grant.
Second.
All right. Citizens' questions, comments. All right. This is a roll call.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
All right. Item number 4, discuss, consider, and act on resolution 2026-Y.
Mr. Mayor, this is resolution number 2026-Y, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, approving that certain agreement between the city and CKH Consulting LLC for staff augmentation services, making certain findings of fact in support of the city approving said agreement, recognizing the authority of the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, directing the mayor to execute and bind the city to said agreement, repealing all prior resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, Leslie Moyer, your Finance Director. I can explain this one as well. This is an effort to, one, the engagement letter is to have an engagement letter in place so that we can pay invoices appropriately. Furthermore, it only allows for it to be in existence until the completion of the 25 audit. So their services will, the engagement letter will terminate at the completion of the 25 audit automatically by the engagement letter. It puts a limit at $10,000, not to exceed $10,000. We have procedures in place in our ERP, our finance system, to where it will not exceed $10,000. I want to give you some reassurance there. And it was written in such a way to where we will not have travel expenses without prior written approval by the commission. They have addressed a lot of the concerns that I voiced to them that y'all had with the interaction with them, and they've addressed it in the engagement letter, saying and specified that I was the designated person that would direct their staff. So we have a lot more controls in this engagement letter than we had in the prior one. It limits the amount to not to exceed $10,000 at the established blended rate for their services, an hourly rate that they had previously given us. So this letter just kind of puts a contract, if you will, in place for us to proceed until we can get the audit finalized.
I'll make a motion, we accept resolution 2026-Y.
Second.
Right. Any citizen comments? Right. This a roll call vote.
Mayor Miller,
Vice Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Grunder,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. All right. City attorney reporting update.
Okay, so you had asked us to look into the sort of city manager situation, sort of generally, what do we do? How do we get an interim? How do we advertise? So there seems to be among cities an anecdotally this idea that either Florida League of Cities will provide you with an interim city manager. We haven't been able to. No one is familiar with that program, at least from Florida League of Cities, that we've been able to speak to. What we did find is something which we do think is helpful, will require a motion from you all. The Florida Commission of County Managers, the FCCMA, and I apologize, I have forgotten now the acronym when it stands for Florida City and County Management Association. Thank you. They have a program wherein you can get senior advisors to assist you as a municipality with under a certain population, which we are well under the 50,000 population that they require, to give you services and assistance in finding a city manager. So what those services include are outlining to elected officials the placement process based on ICMA guidelines, determining qualifications, compensation, and position requirements, assisting local staff with position advertisements, reviewing and recommending semifinalist candidates based on position standards established by the governing body, providing assistance to the jurisdiction during the interview phase of the placement process, and then you all would select your finalists for interview. There is a lot of work that goes into finding a city manager, and as you all know, your staff is strapped right now. So any assistance that we can get, I think certainly is something to look into. The Florida League of Cities will, they have a place on their website for you to advertise your city manager position, and they will do that at no charge to you all. For you to advertise on their website your open position. Obviously, we can advertise in more than that, just that one place, but Florida League of Cities does provide that. And then the FCCMA will provide you with those senior advisory services. You would need to make a motion, either at this meeting or an upcoming meeting, to request those services from those senior advisors from FCCMA. So those are ultimately what we want to do, obviously, is fill your city manager position on a long-term basis. And they can assist you with finding an interim city manager through that process as well, that selection process, interview process, and or a full-time city manager. So you can approach it sort of both ways if that's what you choose, which we think is probably the quickest option, which doesn't involve a whole lot of back and forth and interim and temporary, et cetera. So that would be our posit to you as what we think might be a good solution as a next step.
What would be the cost of the service for the senior service?
It's free. Yep, they provide it free of cost.
Speaking my language.
I told them that was a little expensive for our taste.
Definitely not used to free. Well, I would make that motion that we go ahead and look into that and reach out for help.
Request their services.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can y'all enlighten me how long the process y'all spent on this last one?
It was a few
Timeframe.
months.
Just a few
It
months.
was a few months, yeah, so if we can get started, that'd be
You
fantastic.
think it was a few months?
Wasn't it?
I thought
It was like 6 or yeah. I was
Was it 6 months?
yeah, it was pretty.
Well, we
Because I
advertised,
remember, yep.
not taking into consideration the
Right. Once
advertising
we got
time. Once we
applicants
got
and
it, it was a
narrowed-
few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a few months with just the in-house interns. Like they were city manager.
April,
The
Yeah.
city manager at the time, she resigned in like, what, November?
it was November, yeah.
And then
he was in April.
she was here till February, the end of February, and
Right.
we were working on it then.
Right.
And then the next city manager came
It
in
was
in
April, so it was just a couple months from there, but still, there
Yeah,
was.
just not
was a
6
few
or 7 months like, okay, yeah.
Hopefully not. Jennifer might just
Yeah.
divorce us if we. Do you have any comments on that? How do you feel?
I'm usually the director of fun, yeah, we're doing well right now. So, but yes, I'd love to go back to Parks and Rec. So, if we can get some free help filling this seat, I'm all for it.
Do you need a second? I'll second your motion if we didn't have a
I
second.
don't think we got one.
All right, any citizen comments?
Commissioners, Mayor Sue Weller, I would like to maybe suggest that when you look for a city manager, that you try to limit that person to being from Florida with Florida experience. There's a lot of things in Florida that someone that has not worked in Florida, that they don't understand or don't know about, and it would just give us a step up on that. Thank you.
So, I know this motion is just for us to get their senior services, but I know I brought up the fact of them having to clock in, our next city manager clocking in and clocking out so we can track hours. And then can we actually have a number of office hours that they have to do on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so those are things that we can put in two places. So one, it looks like they'll be able to, these senior advisory services will help you put together compensation and position requirements. So that would be a piece of that position requirements, clock in, clock out, and certain office hours, and they could sort of help you through that process of deciding how many do we want. These senior advisors are retired city and county managers, so they have experience in obviously what would be expected, what would be necessary in a very intimate way. So I believe that they would be able to give you a sense of that. And then what we have in the position requirements for what we advertise, we can certainly reduce to a requirement in the contract that we eventually end up entering with whoever it is that we decide to hire. So yes to both of those questions.
And even, is it possible we could do a number of plan board meetings they have to attend?
You can put any requirements that you want for a candidate. I will say that generally the more requirements that you put in there that are hard and fast typically results in fewer candidates, but it certainly doesn't seem unreasonable to me that there would be a certain amount of planning and zoning meetings that they would attend. So
Gotcha.
I just didn't want to say you can put anything. I mean, you can, but.
All right. There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. You got any other updates?
That's it from me.
All right. City manager report and update.
So I just want to let you know I'm here to work for as long as you need me, to qualify that statement a little bit. And I'd like to ask the citizens of High Springs to help us flip the algorithm. If you guys can join us, and let's help recruit the city manager that we want in this seat. And let's talk about what's great about High Springs. Why do you want to come work with us? Why do you want to come work with this great team, the commission that we have coming before us? What's great about living with this city? So I implore the citizens to help us bring who we want to serve us. And so our assets are our people and our places. We have a deep connection with our businesses, our organizations, our history, our nature, our water, and each other. Only together can we move forward. And in the words of Dolly Parton, we can't just hope for a brighter day. We have to work for a brighter day. And just want to let you know that your public servants are diligently working for that brighter day. And won't you come and join us, and let's get our story out there. And so on that note, Monday, August 31st, we have a budget workshop if you'd like to attend and see where our 2027 is going. We have our registrations for fall youth sports are coming to a close, so we've got those deadlines coming for soccer, volleyball, flag football, and softball. Want to say congratulations to Coach Ernest Graham and the Santa Fe Raiders for their Friday night win last Friday against Newberry. Yes, sorry, Commissioner Whites. So congratulations. Yes, it was a great win, and they'll be playing tomorrow night at home if you guys would like to go support them. And then remember in September, the 26th and 27th, our High Springs Chamber has their fall festival. We are also hosting our first soccer game of the season at the sports complex. And October is packed. We're going to be bringing some economic impact to downtown with some of our sporting events. And then I'll end with one last quote from Miss Dolly Parton. If you see someone without a smile today, give them yours. Thank you.
Commissioner Grunder.
Well said. I want to just say to all the staff members in High Springs, thank you for sticking by us again while we get through this tough time. One thing I think we missed as a commission was the fact that we have asked Jennifer to step out of her normal role and into a very, very, very tough one. And we were all, I think all our heads were spinning at the same time while we had to do this, and the things we found out, and then the amount of work we've seen get put into it. And one thing we didn't talk about at that time was compensation. And I think it's very unfair to ask somebody to go from a Parks and Rec role into a interim city manager role with all that on their back without proper compensation. So I'm not sure exactly what you make. I don't want to blast it out everywhere, but I believe our interim or our incoming city managers to make a 97, I think, is the base. So I would make a motion that while she is in this role of interim city manager, she needs to be compensated for doing the job of a city manager as she is doing so well. So I would make the motion that she be brought up to at least the bottom base of 97,000.
Second.
Any citizen comments? Leslie, is this something that is going to offset our budget or anything?
Sir.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Commissioner White.
Thank you, sir. I want to echo what Commissioner Grunder said and thank all the staff. I mean, I go inside City Hall and Angela's always moving. Jamie barely looks up anymore because she's so busy. So I just want to thank you all so much for everything you're doing. Jen, you never stop. You've redefined a new Energizer Bunny level. You always were the Energizer Bunny. So I want to thank you, commissioners, for being willing to entertain the separation agreement. I think that our unity of purpose is pretty clear, and I know that was, I think it was the right thing, and I really appreciate it. And I want to apologize to Anytime Fitness. They were painted in a pretty negative light at our last commission meeting, and I went over there to look at the actual planting that they had done and all of the trees that were still there, and there's a lot of natural vegetation still there. There were some dead magnolias that were up close to the building, but you know, they're not watering those during drought conditions. And I know that they've had some code issues, and they were working with the city, and I think it's important that people know that. But there's a lot of vegetation that's out there, and they're a good business partner, so I just wanted to thank them. And Mayor's Youth Council, we still need members, so if you know of anybody 14 years or older, they've got a very exciting pickleball tournament coming up. Commissioner Grunder, just saying, I know you play pickleball. Leslie, thank you for the forensic auditing you're doing. That's really what you're doing, and that's your wheelhouse, and it shows, and we really appreciate it. And last but not least, congrats to Kirsten on her engagement and her very beautiful ring. So the guy got the girl. So, thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Leslie and Jennifer and Alan that y'all have done. The staff has always been helpful for me, and try to lift them up when I come in the door just to say hi and smile, as Dolly Parton would want us to do anyway. But yeah, and we need firemen. We need firemen for employees in our department. So if anybody knows anybody that's looking for a job coming to High Springs, love to have them in our town. We need them. And again, thank y'all for what y'all are doing and digging up and bringing to our attention, because that's what we want to hear. Thank you.
I just want to echo Commissioner White's with Anytime Fitness. I went by and visited them as well. And they are in codes. So let's clear that. They are in codes. Codes has been by there. Nothing's wrong at Anytime Fitness. So we do apologize to that business, because, you know, we have business coming in town. It's already a hard process for them to get here, so we shouldn't treat them bad when they actually are here. Miss City Manager, we're gonna let you tell us who the Employee of the Week is?
Okay, so I'd have to say Mr. Chris Tatum with the fire department.